what are the key things we can look forward to from a second term from Jeff Sasser?
The key things that you can look forward to is a much more united FUSA, a FUSA that communicates much better, and a FUSA that internally and understands it's where everyone's a part of the team, having fun and understanding their role and responsibility. I think you can, look at increased student involvement in the university decision-making process, and what else? And I think you can also look at increasing our exposure and our marketing to the student body, and are really looking at new ways that we can do that.
So for you, what's going to signify success or failure in that?
Success or failure for that?
Yeah.
It's a great question. I think it just is something that I have to kind of experience and see. It's something that it's a lot of factors that weigh into that. I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, if there's a lot of people running for FUSA next year, then we went out and marketed our organization better. I think it's having senators that people know that really take hold of their positions and really make sure other people know what they're doing. I think it's a hard thing to quantify into one statement. But I think it's just really getting out there to the students and having the students really understand what we're doing.
All right. And the $16,000 used by the executive cabinet, you're going to look into that for me?
By the executive cabinet, most of that was for the summer. Was for the summer costs.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jeff, so much.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hey, we'll find out soon about whether you got the second term. We're going to be finding out election results as soon as we get them. Right now, though, we have a very special guest who I'm excited to have here up in the Ham Channel, and it's Hutch Williams.
Howdy. How are you guys?
Former two-term, great, thanks. Former two-term FUSA president, and now working in Fairfield marketing. But we'll get to all of that very soon. But first, there was a very important question by one of the crew members here. Is it true you know all the names of everyone on campus?
Well, sadly, I have not gotten the chance to meet as many members of 2012 as I would like, but I do know a fair amount of the Stags on campus, and that was just part of the job and what I enjoyed to do. I often found that Fairfield was a great place to be, and that everyone, everyone did know your name. It was like that Fairfield family.
Like that song?
Like Cheers. So basically, I found that, even as my freshman year, everyone was very engaging, very friendly, and I tried to carry that throughout my time here at Fairfield as an undergrad. And so that's what kind of caught on and caused me to get to know so many Stags.
And why was that so important to you, especially as president, and you kind of really took hold of that role? Why was it important for you to become that icon for the rest of the student community?
It was important for me because being elected by the students, you have to represent the students. And it sounds like a cliche, but you should know those that you represent, and not just know their general traits or their general likes and concerns, but you should know about Joe Smith, who's from Allentown, Pennsylvania, and he's a really big fan of this and his interests are that, and break it down into each individual student, each individual Stag. And I think that, I heard you guys mentioning before in some of your coverage that there's too much apathy, and it continues to be a problem. Was back in the day for me, way back 6 months ago. It's about, like you mentioned with that Girl Talk example, getting to know individuals and not just a kind of giant community being together. So I thought that was a very good point before.
But Hutch, we brought you on. You're almost like an expert now on FUSA. You could be like on CNN as a political
me
consultant.
and Wolf Blitzer, the Hutchinson 360. I like that. As a good ring.
As a second-term president, well, we'll see in about 10 minutes, but it's almost positive Jeff will be a second-term president. Yeah, it's looking good. What is the mandate for him? What does he really need to do?
The biggest challenge and also one of the greatest blessings about being a two-term president is that you have experience. Although you're working all year and you've worked the summer coming into your year as FUSA president, the whole year is a learning experience. And sometimes, and I heard this from past FUSA presidents, was that I wish I had one more year. And some would take it to go in a different direction, and some would take it to just keep on building. It's the president of the United States and a lot of elected positions, they're there for multiple years so they can build off of their base. And so I think Jeff has that excellent opportunity. And that'd be my advice to Jeff, is to keep building.
Keep building, is that what you did?
I did. It was, we tried to address, myself and my FUSA cabinet, some new issues. We were able to take the experience, because there were several returning members from the programming branch, some of our finance people, and also our communications areas. And so that helped us brand FUSA better as a whole. but we also found that we should keep addressing and enhancing the issues that we had already been working on.
Thanks so much, Hutch.
Thank you, guys.
Right now, we are waiting for those election results. I swear to God, they are coming in momentarily.
Very soon.
I don't know why they're not here yet, but
they're
we are working on them.
They're on the edge of their seats waiting for it.
I'm sure all 6 of you out there are waiting for those really, really, really bad. But right now, we're going to jump down to the BCC. Kevin and Ron are standing by with Chris Haliskoe. He's a mirror editor for the school newspaper here on campus, and I'm sure they're going to talk about student apathy and also his views on FUSA. So, Kevin and Ron, take it away, please.
Yep, we're joined here now by Chris Haliskoe. He's a junior here, works for the Fairfield Mirror. He's covered the Fairfield beat for the Mirror, so man of many talents. Chris, thanks for your time tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Chris, so you have extensive knowledge of FUSA, obviously, since you covered it for the Mirror. So take us through a typical meeting. What happens, what's discussed, what gets accomplished?
The meetings that we usually go to are the Senate meetings on Sunday because they're open to the public. And a lot of times they'll start off with an agenda and they'll ask for public input, and they're joined by various campus groups, whether it be public safety or Department of Residence Life. And they go through all their old business and new business, and they're very transparent about it, which makes it easier for us. So there's a lot of issues that come up across the campus, and almost all of it winds up back to Senate through the 40 senators that serve there.
And I know these meetings can get pretty extensive at points, right? I've heard from my roommate who's a senator that sometimes they can last even up to 3 hours, for instance. I guess that's nearing the elections, of course, but these are pretty lengthy meetings. There's a lot discussed in these, isn't there?
I believe last Sunday was a 3-hour meeting, from what I heard. I think they have a 2-hour cap on most of their meetings, so they do run that somewhat intensively. And they do work through the agenda, so they do call on people, and you have a balance of time. So it's run very similar to like the Senate or the House of Representatives.
That's good.
Now, Jeff Sizer, of course, is very popular among the students here. What makes him such a popular FUSA president, and what made Hutch such a popular FUSA president?
Well, I think FUSA president is popular right away just in their position and what they do. And I think that for the most part, Jeff has done a good job of communicating to the students, and he's been able to take what FUSA has done and bring that back to the students and say, look, we've been able to put people on these committees, and we've been able to bring you this and bring you that. And I think for the most part, students are trying to understand FUSA better, and I think Jeff is starting to meet them halfway, and I think the second year will help them out a lot in that regard. And that was probably the biggest challenge they faced this year as well.
'12 senatorial positions. If you want to read off the names, Steph.
Why don't you start it off?
All right. We got Connor. I'm going to apologize in advance for these names. We have Elisa Amirian, Kathleen Nash, Elizabeth Ingham, Michael Gioviti, Greg Burke, Cicely Galazzo, Tanya Rasconi, Kyoka Tapara. One more time, just so you know them again. Elisa Amarian, Catherine Nash, Elizabeth Ingham, Michael Gioviti, Greg Burke, Cicely Galazzo, Tanya Rascone, and Kyoka Tapara.
Okay, and for the 2011, we have Joe Mercadante, we have Lauren Nugent, Michael Rubertone, Brittany Fusillo, Rosie Mathis, John Tiene, and James Keenan.
Great. Moving on down to 2010, we have Justin Lucas for Senate, also Matthew Brennan, Jonas Stankovich, Kelly Young, Lauren Lepanka, Kelsey Schroeder, Allison McNeil, and now moving on, we also have some additional races to tell you about. That is Charlie Knights won the 2012 president, Jenna Allegretto won the 2012 vice president, Phalion Barrett won 2012 secretary treasurer.
And let's move on to 2011 president, which is Kyle Duggan, and 2011 vice president Brendan Sargent, and 2010 president Brendan Monahan, and Justin Smith is our 2010 vice president. Caitlin Chipman is our 2010 secretary treasurer. FUSA VP is, as you saw before, Lauren Johnson,
right,
and Together we can congratulate Jeffrey Sizer.
Congratulations for your second
president.
term, Jeff. Jeff was with us a little while ago, but I just want to thank you so much for sticking along with us and putting up with us too. Brian Fernandez, thank you so much for all your work for the evening.
Thank you all for your questions.
Yeah, the questions were great, comments were even greater. I want to thank all the crew here in the BCC and everyone that put this on. And for any additional information, you can check us out at youtube.com/thehamchannel or thehamchannel.com. And with that, I'm Steve Botari.
And I'm Steph Zambrano.
Have a great evening, Fairfield, and we'll talk to you later.